Humanity! I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I'm so Ray. My videos are about love, infinity, creation, energy, because we're infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. This is who we are. We're the human race. With the human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. This video is a beautiful video. It's about eternity. It's part of the book. Everything. If you see something being uploaded in this channel, this is part of the book. Okay, so I'm gonna read it and then we'll deep dive into it. The deeper we go, the closer we get. By we, us, by us, them. Endless cycle, fruitful process. Infinity is the organizing agent of reality. The deeper we go, the lighter we get. Density dissipates at a higher rate, diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states. Eternity is the proof we are here and now, forever, infinitely. The source of us, know thyself. So I'm going to read this one more time. The deeper we go, the closer we get. By we, us, by us, them. Endless cycle, fruitful process. Infinity is the organizing agent of reality. The deeper we go, the lighter we get. Density dissipates at a higher rate, diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states. Eternity is the proof we are here and now, forever, infinitely. The source is us. Know thyself. Okay, so there's a lot in the... So let's go line by line. The deeper we go, the closer we get. Well, the deeper we go, that's the question. The deeper we go away. Well, inside our DNA memories, who we are, our true self, our identity, the human heart, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. We follow our hearts, the signs and signals of the human heart. This is what we do. We follow the signs and signals of the human heart. This is what we do. And we do these with the love of our hearts, heartful flow states. You see, if it feels good in our hearts, then it's good. So then we go deeper. So we get it. That's the whole notion of the source is us, know thyself. You know, this notion of we are here and now, forever, infinitely. So this idea is because it is objective reality. Because this is the species that we are. We are the center of the universe. This is who we are. So it's very important. So the deeper you go inside, you know, the closer we get. Well, the closer to what? Well, infinity. Right? That's eternity is the proof. So we're the oldest species. We've been around since everything got started, which was an infinite number of cycles ago. So, and we are that. So when we go inside our DNA, then we get closer to what? To eternity, to infinity, because we are everything that there is. This is the species that we are. So our DNA encodes and stores everything and decodes, you know, everything that there is and would always be. This is the species that we are. We are the consciousness and self-awareness of eternity, of infinity. The love of everything that there is us. So we are the biology of that. Because of where we're located, we're the center of the universe. Our planet is that. Our planet is that. And we are the species that inhabits that planet, orbiting the central sun of everything that exists. So, as a result, you see, is this one I said here. So, diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states. We are the end state, the biology of infinity. So, we are the space structure density of infinity. Our biological expression is that. So there's biology, matter, right? There's matter in biology, I mean. there is matter in biology. We have a density structure, right? Our space structure has a density. Our bodies, our cells, the biological organisms, right? So this that. So the deeper we go, remember, the deeper we go, the closer we get to what's inside our DNA, us, our biology, human heart, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. Love is the highest energy that there is. And because love is the highest energy that there is, we are sundials. We have biology, we have eyes, and our eyes allow us to see. So because we can see the sun and sync with it, then that energy of infinity, the highest energy outside, comes inside. Inside what? Well, eternity, who we are, the biology of everything. And the highest energy inside is love. So when those two come together, it unlocks our DNA memory. So you see, the deeper we go, the lighter we get. Because we're infinity, we're energy, in the end. There's no end, but it's an English phrase, in the end, which means like ultimately, like fundamentally, like we are, our essence, who we are, the source is us. So what source? Well, the source, we are here and now, everything that exists. And eternity is the proof, which is our DNA. So forever, infinitely, because infinity is it's forever, it's endless, it's boundless, it's limitless, it's eternal. So you see, they all come together. So the deeper we go, the lighter we get. Why? Because density, with space structure density, the human body, right, as a structure, as a biology, dissipates at a higher rate. So the density dissipates at a higher rate. At a higher rate? Well, energy rate. So higher rate is like higher frequency, higher vibration of energy. For example, the energy from the sun is the highest energy outside that created us in the first place. So when that energy comes in, density dissipates because it's the energy, higher rate. So you see, so density dissipates at a higher rate. So the density of the human body, all the things that are in terms of matter, they diminish, right? Diminish in matter as a byproduct of end states. What end states? Well, the end state is infinity, because we're absorbing the energy of infinity through our eyes, right? Then density dissipates at a higher rate, meaning faster. So that's what it means. So density dissipates at a higher rate, so faster, because diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states, which is the energy that's coming in. So that energy comes in and it dissipates density at a higher rate, so faster. So we evolve faster. It's called evolution. Because when we go inside, we connect to the source, which is everything that there is. That's know thyself, right? We are the biology of everything because of our DNA and blah, blah, blah. So because of that, this is precisely what I mean. So, and then it goes, infinity is the organizing agent of reality. Precisely that, because infinity is spherical energy. And we're the consciousness and self-awareness of that spherical energy that exists. Our species, our biology. So, and this is an endless cycle. This never ends because there's an infinite number of co-creators of infinite eternities. These are, that is to say, species like us, light spherical beings, right? With electromagnetic fields that are obviously, because if you have a high, you have an electromagnetic field. And if you have an electromagnetic field, it's energy, so it's spherical. So we are that. But we are the highest, the most evolved, the most ancient one. So because of that, right, we're made in the image of the Creator, meaning our biology is the electromagnetic field of the heart, human heart, and the space structure density of it. And because of it, who's the creator? Or the creator in this case is infinity. And what's infinity? Well, spherical energy. You say infinity is the organizing agent of reality. Organizing agent, well, what's reality? What we perceive with our senses. And we exist. We're consciousness and self-awareness. And because we're the consciousness and self-awareness of infinity itself, meaning everything that there is, because of who we are, then that means that the organizing agent is energy, and in this case spherical energy or electromagnetic field, because the sun has an electromagnetic field, everything has an electromagnetic field if it's conscious and self-aware, because it's just the way it is. So because of that, then again, infinity is the organizing agent of reality. So it's energy, spherical energy, and that spherical energy is us. So the deeper we go, the lighter we get. The deeper we go inside. And how do you go deeper inside to get lighter? Lighter means less density, diminishing matter, right? Is by connecting with the source. And the source is infinity and is the organizing agent of reality. So what created us? Well, the central sun of the universe, as we know it, the cosmos. And that happens to be our sun. So it's the highest energy. So we get closer to that. How? The deeper we go. How? By staring at the sun. So we get that energy. And then with the love of our hearts, we can unlock our DNA memories and remember who we are as a species. And this is an endless cycle. This is a fruitful process, you see, because the more you engage in this process, it's endless cycle. It's a virtuous cycle, right? Virtuous because it's infinite in nature and it's positive. It's evolution. It's all these beautiful things. Know thyself, who we are as a species, right? The source is us. We're forever, infinitely. We're the here and now. Eternity is the proof. So because of it, it's a fruitful process, meaning there is a result. An end state, right? And the end state is diminishing matter as a byproduct of that, of us getting closer to the light. And to get closer to the light, then that's why we're getting lighter, because light is light. It sounds like what? Light is light. Yes, because it has very little density in it. It has no matter in it, very traces, if any, because of the higher rate. So you see, that energy comes from creation itself, which is what? Well, the energy from the central sun, which is the singularity, the singular point where all points meet. Which points? Well, all the infinite number of points on the surface of the electromagnetic field of the universe. And that is an infinite number of universes, because an infinite number of central suns, and then each of those points, each of those universes is an infinite number of points. It's one of an infinite number of points on the surface of the electromagnetic field of infinity itself, which is everything that there is. And the singularity of that is consciousness and self-awareness. And we are that. We're the biology of that. So when that energy comes in, well, we're absorbing the telemetry of everything that there is. So our DNA contains everything that exists, because this is the species that we are. So you see, and that's a fruitful process, is understanding this, that we are this. That this is the species that we are. That our species is precisely this. Our species is precisely this. So that's why it's a fruitful process. And it has to do a lot with like the apple and the core, having the apple, the heart, right, the epicenter, the center of it, the electromagnetic field of it, the orb, which is the same as our electromagnetic field, the sun's electromagnetic field, and all these different, organizing agents, you see, because it's organic. So it has a space structure at different density, but you look at the density of the apple, right, the matter, and then it resembles creation, right? And then what is at the epicenter? Well, fruitful, right? The fruit, the apple is fruitful process, because at the epicenter of it, then again, image of the creator has the seed of life, and we are the seed of life. Why? Because we're alive, and we're the conscious, and if you're alive, and electromagnetic field, you're consciousness and self-awareness. So because this is who we are, we're the conscious and self-awareness of what? Eternity, infinity, the organizing agent, everything that exists. And this is an endless cycle. So the seed of life is that us. And for example, males, we carry the seed and the sperm. And then females, they are the carriers of the egg that's fertilized with the sperm. And then life is created as a result. The seed of life is that, and then that leads to the flower of life, which is life itself, right? And that's us, our biology, right? That's tetragrammatons, who we are, infinite tetragrammatons. We are that. We are the biology who we are, our biology is everything that exists. So, because then again, because of the DNA, because the seed, you know, everything, the seed of life and the flower is all based on the DNA, and the DNA, which is carried by both donors, right, by both parents, the male and the female, the mother and the father, coming together as one, right, and that forms into a zygote, and then the ontogenesis. What's the name? Onto what? Onto is like the beginning of something, like onto genesis. Well, it's the beginning of the beginning. Ontogenesis of what? The embryonic development, which leads to the fetus, and then that leads to a fully formed baby of a male or a female, and then that leads to what? To the process of life, right? As we know it, biologically speaking. But it starts with the DNA because it is the DNA that this gets decoded with the heartbeat of the mother, and then, well, in the very beginning, the heartbeat of both parents, right? Because the heartbeat of the father and the heartbeat of the mother allows them to exist, which allows them themselves to carry the seed and the egg. So you see, and that's encoded in our DNA because both, you see, the seed and the egg, they both come from glands, and these glands are part of a bigger system, which is called the reproductive organ of the species. So if, depending on the polarity, whether you're one or the other, then you have different roles, either the seed, sperm, or the egg, the carrier of that seed, right? So, and they play different roles because it's the union of these two that allow life to form, which is us at this level, right? So, excuse me. So you see, so that's it. And because of that, because precisely of this reason, then we are in a situation in which then you see we are primes. So we prime at different ages. Females tend to prime earlier because they are the carriers of the seed of life, and they need to be prime, right? Prime in their prime, energy-wise and strength-wise, and all levels. Why? Levels of vitality. Why? Because they're carrying the life, the species, the future, right? They're carrying the everything that exists in the universe within them, and those are the future of the species, our children, our offsprings. So you see, so that's why women tend to prime earlier. Why? Because they need to provide, grow the baby inside of them with their heartbeat and all that, and then that also leads to all the instincts as a result of being the mother. And if you breastfeeding, which is contains all the is the most nutritious way of feed that you can provide a newborn, right? It contains, this is just incredible, and all that is produced within the mother, right? And what? DNA, the DNA, right? Because then the instincts of the mother, is to provide. So as the baby is growing, it's developing all the systems for that baby to eventually get the nutrients from the milk, the breast milk, that has everything to help the early stages of formation outside the placenta, outside once the baby is outside the body, right? So once the baby is out of the womb, in the fairly early stages, breast milk is such a fundamental thing. If the mother is healthy enough and capable enough in a prime to go through the early pains of it, because there's pain in it, adaptation and all that. But the mother, if it's a prime mother, which is most likely the case, and he has, he really has the right instincts, which is the case, then we're capable of producing breast milk and all that as a species. And that's fundamental. And then obviously you can support it with other foods after that, right? But the very early stages of breast milk is so important. It's fundamental because of all the nutrients that allow the frame. So because it's, or when we're born, but not all our organs are there, and everything is there because of our DNA. But the organs and the body still is forming, and the systems are forming outside the womb. For example, we're born without a prefrontal cortex, for example. We don't have a prefrontal cortex when we're born as a species, the frontal lobe. We develop that as we age, as we mature, as we develop, as we grow, right? Part of the development of, different stages of being a human. So you see, this is biology. So, and then again, the eyes, for example, you see, the most important organ, because it's what after the heart, the most important organs are the eyes, because it's what allows us to stare at the sun and get the energy from infinity, because the highest energy comes from the sun, and that's the eyes that gets it, right? The sunlight into the body, and then the heart gives us life, and it also has the highest energy, the electromagnetic field and love. So because of this, then this is the whole situation, right? So these two organs, and the eyes fully form outside, because when children are born, they might not necessarily have fully developed sight. It happens outside. Why? Because the eyes need to adapt to the light. Adjustments, right? This is natural process. This is just the way it is. So the eyes adjust to the light, and adjust to the brightness, and adjust to the environments. And when you're little, that's the best moment to stare at the sun, because when you stare at the sun as little, then the growth pains and all that are essentially part of staring at the sun happen at a very early stage. So when you're older, as you start to develop as a kid, then you have no pain or like anything, because you did that all when you were very little. So while your eyes are still forming, and when you get that energy, the eyes develop faster, because when it starts to get light directly, then it decodes all sorts of DNA structures and sequences around the retina and the iris and the eye. So the eye gets a lot stronger, the muscles supporting the eyes, the eye sockets and connections, all the neuroplasticity that is formed as a result of the eyes being fully strong, because they have strong muscles holding them, so they can absorb all this light without having to. We are an incredible species. So you see, so the eyes develop because they need that. So because they need that connection, they need to open the portal, build the bridge, our eyes. Then that's why that happens after the birth, because there's no sun inside the womb in it. So it's outside. The sun is outside, which is the highest energy from the outside, and the heart. But the heart is developed in the womb, in it, which is the electromagnetic field, and then because once the embryo, I think, is starting the 20th day onwards of the embryonic process, development and all that, ontogenesis. You see it in cogenesis, the genesis of life us and all that, ontogenesis. So, and at that stage, right, at that very stage, at the 20th day or something, that's when the heartbeat forms, gets decoded and fully formed as a space structure density because of DNA, because it's the mother's heartbeat sending the signals to the DNA cells of the, because it's contained within the egg, right, that forms into eventually a placenta and all that. Everything comes out of it. It forms into everything. It's incredible what the human body is. It's obviously the full organ. There's all sorts of, everything happens together, but everything starts there. So And then the human heartbeat of the mother sends the signals to these cells. So the cells decode and build the organs, right? Grow the organs, and they have different tasks because there is different cells. It's all because of the signaling from the heart, based on the instincts of the mother, because the mother already carries the DNA structure of the father as well. So male and female together as one, because the seed of life contains the DNA structure of the father. So and then the mother contains her own DNA structure and everything, the memories, right, within the egg. And they together just start to form with the signaling from the human heart, because the human heart signals, and then all the glands secrete the hormones that are required and all the enzymes and all that through the body. And then the neurotransmission happens, neurotransmitters, right, synapse, and then the pheromones and everything kicks in, all the signaling, right, of the body. And then that's what essentially the circuitry of the whole system is live. So the signaling of the heart is that starts all that process, getting the feedback, because a feedback is sending information to all the cells, and then the cells are sending you a feedback back. And that's what the nervous system is for, because it moves the electricity through the different distributes it through the body. So, and then that feedback, and then that is starting to grow that embryo, and then eventually the heart forms. And once the heart forms, then that heart itself kind of decentralizes from the other heart, and itself has the own currency, the signal, to send the signs and start and signals to the own everything that is being formed, the new life form, because the heart already is there to do everything. But then that heart communicates with the other heart of the mother, and then that's the umbilical cord and everything that gets fed within and then outside through breast milk, and then parenthood, raising kids, right? So you see, this is all that, and it's part of this process. This is a fruitful process because it's the seed of life, it's the flower of life, and because the apple has the seed at the core, which is us. We are the core, the center of the universe, the species that is at the epicenter. So you see, everything in our planet has that space structure density. What density? Well, the space structure density of everything that exists, because of the planet that we are, because of the species that we are, and everything that we represent, and everything that we are. So you see, it's all connected. It's all one. It's all one. And this goes to infinity. This goes to infinity. So I'm going to read this a few more times and then talk more if required. Okay? And I apologize for blowing my nose. It's just, just the way it is. So, okay, the deeper we go, the closer we get. By we, us, by us, them. You see, I haven't spoken about this bit. By we, us, by us, them. So what is this duality of us and them? So what's us, what's them? Well, us is us, human. And our consciousness of awareness of love, who we are as a species. And them is everything that is not human. Everything outside that is not human, that is not our species, but still exists, still part of infinity. Because infinity is the organizing agent of reality. Them is everything that we see with our senses, with our reality. Whatever it is, could be a different species, or it could be non-biological. You see, everything that there is in reality, them, like not us outside us. So it's outside the human body, outside our consciousness, outside of who we are, and that could be anything. But it's by we, us. So by we, us, by we, meaning it's a way to say by us, but we. So it's you see, because when you say by we, us, then you're preceding us, because we is us. See? But by changing the format and starting by we, leading to us, then by having that notion that us comes from we, because you cannot have us without we. We comes before. We are us. So that's the order. You don't say we don't say us are we. Do we? You see, and I said do we, like do we? Because it's we. You see, it's just the structure of the language. So we precedes us. So by we us, right? So we are us. It's not us are we. It's we are us. And because we are us, then by we us. And because we are us, then we can now be us. So by us. So and by us, them. Meaning everything that is not us. Because it's by us. Meaning because we are the center of everything that exists. We are the human race. We are infinity. We are everything that there is and would always be, because our DNA is the DNA that encodes, decodes, and encrypts, and decrypts, and renders, and really everything that exists. Generates everything that there is. Everything that exists in everything that there is contained in our DNA. Is stored in our DNA memories. So them come from us. We are the creators. So everything that is outside us, we created it, essentially. Precisely that. So you see, by we us, by us them. Because it's by us. By we, because we are. We see, we are. We are. It's not us are. It's we are. So because we are. We are. We. We. Starts with we, right? So by we, meaning by us. Us. By we. Because by is the root, right? By something, right? By this. By product, right? So the byproduct. By what? The product of what? Well, the fruit. The process. Fruitful process. And that's us. We are biology. We're infinity ourselves. We're everything that there is. So that's by we. Because we add the biological expression of everything that exists. And because this is who we are, then by we. By we, us. Meaning by us. By we, us. We are us. You see? And because we are us now, because we exist, we're a species, and we're conscious of that, self-aware, then we can say by us. And by us, them, everything that is not us. You see? So it is important to understand this. And it's good that this is the case, because then that represents duality as well. Within and without. Inside, outside. So what's inside us? Well, everything that there is, the DNA memories, our human heart, highest energy of creation. And what's outside? Well, the creator, the central sun of everything that there is. Sunlight that created everything else. That we ourselves know it is, because we are the biology of it. And because of what we've done as a species that I have made reference to many times in the past, the story of humanity. You can watch many videos, Earth, Cosmos, Santa. So many videos that contain our story, who we are, and how is it that we are the biology of infinity, how is it that we are the epicenter of everything that there is, how is it that we manufacture planet Earth. All these things are there. They're explained, so you understand who we are. So you see, by we, us, by us, them. So it's an incredible idea, because it's just the way it is. By we, us, by us, them. Meaning they don't exist without us. Because we created them. Everything, if we don't exist, none of them exist, do they? Why? Because we wouldn't exist in the first place, so we don't know that exists. That there's something that there is. And because we are the center of everything there is, because we're the biology of everything, by us existing, then we create them as a result. Because we are the energy of creation. Right? This is who we are, the prime movers. I provided the mathematics, the formula, the equation of the prime mover, which is the creator. And the creator that created us is an it. It's a mathematical formula that we can use now as the biology of infinity itself, because we're the consciousness and self-awareness of the creator, which is infinity, which is spherical energy, the central sun. And we are the biology of that. So because we are that, then we're conscious and self-aware of that it, spherical energy, being a prime mover, and we have the mathematical equation, so we can use it for anything we want. So that's why by us, them, because everything that there is a result of us existing in the first place, because we are the image of the creator, meaning we are the consciousness and self-awareness and the love of the creator, because we ourselves are the creators, because the creator creates creation, and we as a creation create creators, and the creator is spherical energy. And we are the electromagnetic field of creation at the biological scale, which is we are the biological expression of infinity itself, which is everything that there is. Because infinity itself is the organizing agent of reality, and we are ourselves. Our eyes perceive our senses, right? And what's our senses? Well, they all come from the DNA. And so you see the idea, whichever angle you ask why, then it leads to the source, because the source is us. You see, by we, us, by us, them. So everything is through us. Nothing exists without us, essentially. Because we are the creators. Because we are the DNA that is that. So you see, so I'm going to read this. So we go, the deeper we go, the closer we get. By we, us, by us, them. Endless cycle, fruitful process. Infinity is the organizing agent of reality. The deeper we go, the lighter we get. Density dissipates at a higher rate. Diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states. Eternity is the proof. We are here and now, forever. Infinitely. The source is us. Know thyself. And these are all Greek ideas. You see, know thyself is a Greek idea. This notion of here and now is also a Greek idea. It's a Greek concept. Living in the moment, happiness, eudaimonia. These are Greek ideas. Infinity is a Greek concept. The fruitful process is a Greek idea. The apple orb is the original idea. Is Plato. Plato was the one who spoke about the apple representing us and what the meaning of the apple was. All this, what I'm saying, Plato already spoke about this. So, you see, and the Greek have given us so much. For example, cosmos, the word, everything that there is, Greek word. The Milky Way, the name of our galaxy, Greek word. The sphere, pi, Greek. The republic, democracy, freedom, Greek. Know thyself, Greek. Here and now, Greek. All these are Greek ideas. Ancient Greece, right? All these are the apple, Greek idea. So these are all Greek concepts. Okay? These are all Greek ideas. Attic, around that area. Okay? Greek. And everything that there is. So, in that way. And also the concept of being the center of the universe, a Greek idea because of the apple. It started with the apple. The same analogy that I used is Prometa Systems properties analysis about the apple orb, what the apple orb represents. Plato spoke about this already. And then the Platonic solids. Right? The Platonic solids are just that, right? So it's a space structure, right? The space structure of what? Well, the apple orb. his ideas. The electromagnetic field, this is everything that is with the sphere, and Archimedes, and it's just all is part of it. Know thyself. These are all Greek ideas. This notion of why, how, it really is root cause analysis that leads to infinity, and it's part of the Socratic method. Socrates, asking this, because it was, I believe, Socrates who said, like, you can only judge a human by the quality of the question that's asked, right? That's how you judge, like, the character of a human. You do that by, really, you don't judge the human, but you judge the question, the quality of the question. And that's what the Socratic method is. If you really think about it, that's all what the Socratic method is. It's the quality of the question. So, and these are all Greek ideas, right? So, because Socrates led to Plato, Plato led to Aristotle, and Aristotle led to Alexander, and Alexander changed everything, right? So, you see, they all connected. This is a timeline. Okay, there is a timeline there. So, and if you think of Plato always made reference to the past, the distant past, that time before the moon. So you see, so the Greek, and if you look at all the ancient sites of ancient Greece, the real ones, like the very ancient ones, you see, know thyself, and all the other epicenters, right? All the other epicenters of civilization. Today we cannot do it. We cannot rebuild those the same way we would. So we don't even have the equipment. There's some stones there that are so heavy that we cannot even lift them with our modern day equipment, right? We could, but we gotta push, and it's not normal, because if you understand this narrative, we're not supposed to have those equipment back then, right? We were like using swords, right? Think about it. And now you got all these cranes that you require, and all these systems, high applied modern engineering, just to move a stone, if you could first. So, and that stone is not even the thing; it's just the base. It's not even the cornerstone. It's just a stone. A stone. What you call? It's not even a boulder. This is a massive, massive stone, bigger than any in ancient Giza. Like, you look at Giza. If you look at Giza, Giza has millions of blocks, right? It's the largest pyramid. So if you look at Giza, if you look at the base of Giza, the actual base, right? The foundation. None of those stones are as big as these ones that I'm referring to in ancient Greece. And this one is not even like the cornerstone or like the central or like a capstone or anything like that of the foundation. We're talking just a regular piece of boulder. Precisely cut. Right, because it's cut in a way in which, for that, you need lasers. For that type of precision, you need laser cutting, because you're cutting stone. So you're telling me that fellas with swords had lasers? Is that what you're saying? So you see, the narratives don't make any sense. And when did this narrative started? Right? So that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. What's the source of these narratives? What's the source of these narratives? Who came up with these ideas and these notions? Who were the humans? Who were the institutions? Who said that about that specific time? Who was the one that first introduced the idea that the Greek used swords and shields? So you see, whoever did that, well, you know that person is lying. So because the ancient Greek are smarter than any of these so-called archaeologists. So, right, let's just call a spade a spade. So, and then why? Because these sites were built before the moon. That's why. Right? Before the moon showed up. So, including Giza and all that. Because, okay, so the way it works. So I have explained many times that before the moon, the epicenter of the planet was our civilization. Our civilization, you know, Antarctica is not called Antarctica. That's the name that these fellas give it. The archaeologists. These geologists, highly reputable geologists, right? So they all call it that with their cartography and the assistance. So, but that's not the real name, is it? So that's the epicenter of our civilization. So that used to be at the equator of the planet, because before the moon, this is the thing, this idea of the sun rising, the sun never rises, the sun doesn't rise. Okay, it's just an idea that it seems like it's going up, and that's why we call it rising, but the sun never rises. We orbit the sun, so it doesn't rise. We move around it, which is different. It's called rotation, translation, and transition. So before the moon, we had a different, because we manufacture planet Earth. So if we manufacture planet Earth, that means that we were the ones who manufactured these big stones in ancient Greece and the pyramids and all that, our civilization. Okay, and believe me, we didn't do that with swords. We did that with spherical technology. So anyway, so all I'm trying to say is that if you understand this idea, so then you got to think about it fundamentally and what it means. So, right, just think about it, right? Think about it. So Antarctica wasn't called Antarctica, and then Plato always talks about this ancient lost continent. So because our epicenter is what's known as Antarctica today, right? Why? Because we manufacture planet Earth. So the way we did it was we wanted to have an island as the epicenter. Why? Because it goes, so if you look at the three, it's only really, if you put what's known as Antarctica at the epicenter, at the equator. Why? Because planet Earth is a spaceship. We manufacture it. So what that means is that when there is no moon, which is a normal case, there is no west-east relationship to the sun, because this is all because of the moon, because it's the moon that is making it be so, because it's within that bandwidth of the moon. I have spoken about in other videos. So, but once the moon is out, which is the next step, because the moon is a problem, it's a parasite. The moon worshippers and all this stuff, the moon gotta go. The moon gotta go. So, and it's gonna happen. This is happening already. So, anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that because we manufacture the planet itself is a spaceship, meaning it moves any way we want it. And because it's a sphere, we move it. So, we don't have this idea of days that are fixed to a calendar, because we can move the planet everywhere, any way we want, around any orbit. So we can, if we want, we can have 1,000 days of the sun just facing one side, if we wanted it. The surface of I hold it there. That's what we wanted, but that's not what we do. So what we would do before the moon is just have. So what we did, so we could move it anywhere, because no one was holding it to a tight angle, like to a tidal locking. It's called tidal locking, right? So without the parasite, that was not the case. So our civilization, because we manufactured the planet, meaning we did the terraforma, meaning the landscapes, the terrains, the surface, of the planet, the biosphere, everything that is on the surface, the continents, we ourselves design them to be like that. So they look the way we wanted them to look because we created everything. We manufactured the whole lot. So the way we did it is we wanted to have an island at the epicenter, and all the other continents, if you really look, if you move Antarctica, so I'm going to show you because I have it, it's on me here. So this is planet Earth. And this is Antarctica. So you see, it should be here, right? That's the theory. Because it's at the bottom, right? The South Pole. But that's not the case because this doesn't need a moon. So you move the moon out, and then this moves freely around the sun anyway. In fact, we can move it out of the sun and lock it anywhere we want it, or move it outside a sun without being in the orbit of a sun. It's a spaceship, but it's big, right? So, and we made it ourselves. So, before the Ice Age, which is what the fallout of the moon showing up. So, if you look at this, so that's Antarctica there. So, if from this position, it moves into this position here. So the equator is that. And what's the South Pole? Well, the South Pole, normally, the way we like it, because it's optimal, is the way we created the planet, because we created this, is with what's known as the Pacific today at the bottom. The Pacific is the South Pole, essentially. And then if you look at as the Antarctica there, and that's not the name, by the way. Yeah, I'll tell you the name soon. So the real name and the name of our planet. I'm gonna tell you the real name of our planet. So, and everything. So if you look at this, that's Antarctica, but it's not in the South Pole anymore. And why is this ocean at the bottom? Because there's no continents there by design. Okay. This is all by design. This is not random. We manufacture this planet. We did this, our species. This is our planet. This is our property. Belongs to us. Right? By us, them. Them, the moon worshippers and the moon, they don't own this planet. They're invaders. So now, if you look at this, you got Antarctica here, which is not the name. But then the real position is at. Why? Because then there's no land mass. There's no continents at the bottom. But everything else moves in any angle that we wanted it. So we can have it, move it around it. Anyway, so we would have the optimal civilization. And if you look at this, why an island? Because it's connected. So if this is the actual shape, because this is the way our actual landscape looks like without the moon. So you see, there's this massive continent, which is what's known as Antarctica, and then 3 massive waterways. So in reality, there is only 3, because this idea of ocean, there's only 3 oceans. And the names they have right now, they're not the names. These are all fake names, made up names. So that's not the real names of our oceans. So there's 3 oceans. 3 big ones. The Pacific at the bottom, you see, and it has connections to all the land over there. One over here, which is what we know as the Indian Ocean one, and then what we know as the Atlantic. So it's only 3. Right. 3. So because we would move everywhere, civilization could do anything. We manufacture this planet, right? So anything we want, right? With a spherical technology. So you see, and this, so this is Africa, as we know as Africa. This is what we know as Australia. And this is what we know as South America. Right? Those are like the things right next to us. But then when we move, then you get to what? See, here you get to Asia. Here, you get to the other side, like India and stuff. And then on the other side, the Americas. Where the Americas here, the Americas, right? The Americas and the Pacific. So you see, so that's it. So we move everywhere. And then, so what that meant is that if you really look at it like that, so we will move it like that, move it like that in that angle. So all the land gets a lot of light, and it's because there's no ice caps, so it's all green and luscious, you see. And also by placing it like this, like at the ocean at the bottom, because of the nature, the wind kind of tends to go to the bottom and all the pressures are at the bottom. So there's no clouds. No clouds. So the clouds are at the bottom if there is any, right? So there's no clouds here, so we can stare at the sun from anywhere. So because of all that sunlight, everything is green and luscious in the planet. Everything is green and luscious all over the planet. And you know, if you think about it, Africa tends to be at the top. Why? Because there is a pyramid of Giza which we manufacture. And why is because if you think about it, if this is what is known as Atlantis, right? But that's not the real name either. Atlantis is not the real name. It's just the name that was given. But that's not the name. It's code. It's code. Atlantis is a code term they use, okay, to refer to Antarctica. So every time they talk about Atlantis, they're talking about Antarctica, okay, which is the epicenter of our civilization. So if you understand this, because we did this, so then Africa tends to be at the top. And if you look at Africa, so this is Antarctica. So if you look at Africa, then here at the top is the pyramid, Giza. And what is Giza? Well, Giza was essentially our force field. So the way it worked, we had a defense mechanism, like a shield. So that energy shield would come out of that pyramid and it will build a grid that will be a defense mechanism against invaders. Okay, so that energy would come from Giza and it will create an electromagnetic field, a shield, protecting us from invaders. Because this spaceship is a planet. So the planet it moves, so it has defense mechanisms. So Giza was essentially, that's why it's at the top. Because if you understand, like if it's at the top, it means that it's easier because from there you can just beam it and the energy generates the electromagnetic field of the shield. And that's what Giza is. So that was our electromagnetic field, right? Our force field against the invaders. So, but then the epicenter of our civilization is here. That's why it's under ice, because they move it. So we had it because all this, look, if this is just, think about it, Africa here, the pyramid, which is big and it cannot be replicated today, created a shield that protected us as our spaceship planet. And that's just one little thing there. Imagine the things that we have built here, which is the epicenter of our civilization, because from here, you see, we move everywhere. We move everywhere. And you see right next to us here, the Americas over here. And then here is Australia. You see, it's a beautiful place, Australia. It's a lot of sunlight there. And then Asia over here and Europe and all that. So you see, so when you change this, when you understand the actual way the planet looks, then you see how everything changes. So then when you understand this, so that's why it's undersized, because our civilization is here. So when we get rid of the moon, which is what we're doing right now with the spherical technologies, we're going to get rid of the moon. The moon is a problem. So we're going to get rid of it. So we can go back to our normal free flow state and the ice caps would melt. So we would have more water on the surface, but because we have our technologies, most of the water, because we move into the equator, would end up at the bottom because of gravity. So the water will be essentially at the Pacific at the bottom. So we're not going to have any flooding or anything in the cities or anything where the civilization is right now. So this idea of climate change and all this nonsense is all part of these narratives. It's all lies. Okay, it's all lies. So then you understand that, right? So you see the water will go to the bottom, all that, through the different flow systems and our technologies to assist it. So everything is at the bottom because water is heavy. So it ends up at the bottom for the most part. And then everything here is all the new levels of water would reside at the bottom. Because a lot of that also, because there's no ice caps, that means there's no weather, meaning there's no clouds, so we can stare at the sun from everywhere. So everything will get green up. And because of all that new water, a lot of that water that goes to that bottom part, that the one that stays at the top, it will be like a filter. So it will go through, or it will form aquifers. So the water will filter down because that's how we created the planet. So we created the planet to do precisely that. So in case of icing, because of what happened, because when we created the planet, we had contingency plans of invasion forces from moons. So we knew that if that ever happened, we have filters, aquifers, and natural cave systems, underground cave systems that work as filters. So all that water from the ice goes into the aquifers and then is distributed in way of fresh water through the natural ways of the planet, the waterways. So in that way, we can go, because once the aquifers, that ice forms in the way of an aquifer, then everything becomes green, because that water then, because of the natural condensation inside the cave systems, becomes fresh. And because that is fresh water, then that sorts of lakes and all sorts of aquifers and all sorts of sources that lead to green environments. And for example, what that means is that the moment that we move Antarctica to where it belongs, which is the epicenter of civilization, Africa will get green, fully green, and everything like for example, there will be no deserts anywhere. Sahara and all that would all go. They would cease to exist, and everything will be like the Amazon, in a way, green and luscious. But because we're modern and developed, it will be more like a garden, right? So, but beautiful, and our planet can sustain many tens of billions of life, like, and so many, like really hundreds of billions, because of our technologies and our surface and all that. And we can manufacture new planets, which is what we're gonna do to orbit the central suns of all these universes that exist, that we have created as a species. So this is what's happening. I'm just telling you what's gonna happen. This is just testament. This is just annals of history, really. This video is gonna be watched as a kind of like a video of what happened. All right. So that's just the way it is. It's history. This is a history lesson. So essentially, if you understand this, then everything will get green. And once we do that, we can reactivate our force field of Giza. And not only that, we can also do all sorts and all new mechanisms, because we have learned ever since the moon and what they've done. So so that's that. But then moving away from that idea, then where is, you move it, right? So you see right there, right? So that's Africa, right? But then that's Greece right there. Greece is there. And that's where all these civilizations, right? All these civilizations, everywhere there is ruins. Because if you think about it, the big one is Antarctica. Antarctica is the really big one, the huge one. Is what we look. The whole of Antarctica is structure. That's why it's under ice, and they don't want us to see it, because the whole of it is structures. Like Giza is nothing. Giza, to be honest, is very small. Like, we have entire civilizations that can hold billions of people, right, here, with our civilization. We can have billions of humans just in here, in this big island that's known as Antarctica. Because our entire civilization is hidden under ice. We got incredible structures. Like, I'm telling you, and all these satellites and all these, they already know these. They all have it. It's hidden. It's known as state secrets and all that. All right. So this is ancient, before the moon showed up. So when we do that, and we have all sorts of archives and libraries there, all sorts, technology, blueprints, everything to relaunch our civilization again is there. Everything. And that's why they put it there, because they didn't want to destroy it, because they wanted it. So they're reverse engineering it. That's what they're doing. And the moon, so the base to the moon is this. So that's why it's in the south. So because it's there, so no one goes down there, right? So all sorts of systems guarding Antarctica. They do that. All sorts of treaties and all sorts of systems. They have to guard these. And all sorts of, wrappings. So that's the whole notion. Why? Because from here they go to the moon, and that's how they move in their very primitive spacecraft that they have. So they go to the moon from here, and from the moon they go to Saturn and Jupiter, and from there they go to Aldebaran B, and from Aldebaran B they go to where they're from, which is Gaia. And that's how they do it. So that's how they move around, the moon worshippers. The moon worshippers use Antarctica as a launching pad because it's essentially cataloged to the moon in a way, because that's what they're guarding. So directly, so you see, and you don't see it in the skies, because all that they do, all the cargo, everything that they do happens at the South Pole, so no one sees it. But the South Pole has a winter solstice, so it's in alignment with Gaia, and when that happens, the moon is a proxy. So they use that through the moon, and then from the moon they go to Jupiter and Saturn, because they have moons in Saturn and they also have moons in Jupiter. So that's why, these moons have the names of the continents and things, right? Because where are they? Right? So you gotta understand the narratives. So it's all about them, right? Worshipping the moon as slavers. So essentially, you understand this idea. So this is what's gonna happen. And all this noise that you're hearing is them, by the way. That's them. Because they love what I talk about, right? So that's them making noise. So you see? Because you gotta time the noise. When is the noise being made? When I speak about a specific thing, right? That is a state secret that they're guarding. So that's why they do that. That's why they do that. Because a lot of the noise that you're hearing, they're encrypting data, so they're communicating with that noise. So whoever watches this video, that's them, they can decode that, and they have all sorts of messaging encoded in that noise that they're distributing through this channel as well. Because these people, all right? So that's how they act like that, all right? So you see, but it's all decrypted. They lost already. They know that. So if you understand these, so that's Antarctica. So that's the way it is, right? That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So that's the way it is. So you see, it's very different. And if you start to look at the civilizations, then everywhere. So for example, you see, what's right next to Antarctica, if you change it, the new equator is at South America. Instead of having this, just a little isthmus as the equator of the planet, the whole of the Americas is the equator, because it's right next to Antarctica. So you see, it's all green and luscious and nice weather. You see the whole thing. And if you think about it, right next to Antarctica is the Andes, right? And don't we have all these ancient structures there? Because that's where we moved. So when they came with the moon and they did everything that they did, so you see, so the Antarctica was the equator, so it was like kind of there. But when you moved it to this angle, so what is the new equator in the west end? Well, the Americas. So we moved to the Americas. That's where we went. So we went there. That's where we went. Okay, we went there. And that's why we have the civilizations that we have there, because we built those pyramids, all that. We built those ourselves. Oh, everywhere. This is all stuff that we did as a result of what they've done. And also those were there prior as well. So we went to the sites that we were already built as a result of the fallout. Because near the equator, we could be where the sun was. So we're a sun-centric species. And everywhere was ice everywhere as a result of the fallout, the warfare. So you see, we went there. And this is why they couldn't go there, because we were there. And they would lose if they go there. So they ended up going. So what they ended up doing, so you see, they're guarding Antarctica, right? They're guarding Antarctica. So if you understand that, when they moved it there with the tidal locking, then everything changes, right? Because Antarctica is at the bottom now. It's at the bottom now, right? It's at the bottom now. It's at the bottom. So because of that, then everything changes. So because we went to the Americas, and remember, the moon locks it in an angle. So because it's fixed, then you can have the illusion of the moon and the calendar, base 60, base 10, and all that, all the slavery systems. So then you have this idea of the sun rising from the east. Why? Because they wanted the sun to rise from the east, because we were in the west. So naturally, because they were going to use primitive technology to create the narratives that we come from apes and all this nonsense, so they would move with the sun westward to meet us eventually, when they had the technologies to go and did what they did with the moon to invade the planet, then to go over there with us and show up. So they move from the east. So if you move it, so So if you understand these, right, these people are evil. So if you understand these, Antarctica is at the bottom, right? It's Antarctica is at the bottom, but the west will be us, right? So it's where the sun, so the sun rises in the east, right? So if you, where is the east? Well, the east is Asia, right? So Antarctica is at the bottom, is there. So that's how it goes. You see. So the civilization that they started here. They started it in Asia. So from Asia, it moved east all the way to Europe, and then from Europe all the way down to the Americas. So let me just show you. So I like this. So it went like this. So from here all the way to Asia. Here, where? Asia. All the way to Asia. Here, I'm from Asia. All over Asia, the continents, to Europe, and then from Europe, they did all what they've done, and then ended up in the Americas where we were, because they were just creating that system of that chronological timeline that they need with the solar calendar, right, and base systems, and that's where led to Babylon and everything, and that's why because they needed to get to the pyramids, remember, as well, because the pyramids is this epicenter where our force field is, this shield. So they wanted to control that just in case, as a contingency, as insurance. Like, okay, just in case we guard Giza. So if we guard Giza, then they won't be able. So you see, it's like systems. So you control, because what the moon did a lot of things. But the first thing that the moon did, so when they created the moon, they charged it in a few suns around the universe, and they fully charged it because they needed to be fully loaded with energy, because the reason when they showed up in that vector covering the sun and it hit us because it's a bell and it generates this electromagnetism, what they really wanted was to take down our electromagnetic field, our shield from Giza, because when they did that, then they can do deployment. So the moon was the first attack, was to take down this force field of Giza, what we know as Giza today. So they take that down, and then after that, take that down, they can do everything else. But they needed that. So the moon was essentially, it's a bunch of things, but the first thing, the first wave was to like kind of like create the conditions to be able to break down the force field. And that's why the moon is that side, and all, because it needed to create enough to break that force field to be able to do all the things that they could do. So they can, because the moment, so they had only a small window, 8 minutes. So they can only take down the force field for 8 minutes, because that's the time that the invasion was planned, because of the light and everything else. They had 8 minutes to take down the force field and then command and control decapitation strategy of Antarctica, because this is the epicenter of our civilization. They showed up in that vector covering the sun, right? Africa at the top. So they showed up in that angle. So the eclipse that took place, that was fixed, was covering all of Antarctica, that area there. And the invasion happened there, because they were able to, when they hit us, the first wave, they took down the shield so they can then get to our civilization. And they had the 8 minutes to do what they did. But because of what we've done as a retaliation defense mechanism, because we knew we were under attack, everything that we've done, we ended up moving to the Americas, and they couldn't do anything. But the locking happened, but we ended up moving to the Americas, which was the location where Antarctica used to be. So it was a strategic place, and they locked it in the west. The reason why they locked it like that is because we moved there. So they said, well, if they move there, we cannot be there because we're going to lose, because of what they've done to us as a result of us showing up. So we need to then lock it in the east so we can use that light with primitive technologies to get to the west eventually, to get to them after a few thousand years, after the ice age ends and the ice caps melt. So that's why they started in Asia, and they had all these ancient civilizations like India and China in Asia, and then Mesopotamia and all that. They're all moon-centric, right? It's all connected. And then that moves to Europe and all that, because it started there. And then they started to use those sites in ancient Greece and Giza as created these narratives of like, yeah, primitive humans with copper tools built a force field covering this spaceship planet that is planet Earth and defending it. Lunacy, right? Lunacy. That's why lunatics and the moon, they're the same. lunacy, right? It's nonsense. So it's all part of the narrative, right? Part of the narrative. So that's it. This is all that. So it's all connected. You see, it's all connected. So this is what's going to happen. So we're going back to this. So stare at this. Look at this very well, because this is the new landscape of planet Earth. This is what we're going to be looking like moving forward as a Republic of Planet Earth. This is going to be, because this is it. This is the... We need to access to our technology, and the world obviously needs to have access to our epicenter. And that's what we're going to do. And no one's going to say no to this because of all the technologies and everything that there is there. That is on the ice, and the ice is going away. So, you see? So it's beautiful. This is who we are. This is our species. We're an incredible planet because we manufacture it, because it's the species that we are. We're infinity ourselves. So we created this planet because the prime mover and everything that we've done because of our history. So that's why the moon is here, because they don't want us to be who we are, which is this. Because the Republic of Planet Earth is manufacturing more planets around the central suns of the universe. And they don't want that, obviously. That's why the moon is there in the first place. And our civilization is on the ice. And it's known as Antarctica now. And it's being guarded at the bottom of the planet. Right? Because if you think about it, that's the bottom now, right? It's Antarctica. And what are the countries around them? The land masses. Well, South Africa, Australia, Argentina, and Chile. And a little island over here next to Australia. Nation country, eh? So, you see, those are the nations guarding it, right? If you think about it fundamentally. So, you see, that's just the way it is. So, but that's going to change. So that's just it. That's just the way the planet is, right? That's just the way the planet is. So, is that. So it's beautiful. Our planet is incredible. It's an amazing planet. And this is part of our story. You see, we are eternity. This is who we are. So the deeper we go, the closer we get. Well, to get to what? To us, to the truth, as a species, who we are. Right? Our DNA, we created this planet. And they want it. They want our planet. They want our tech. Because it's not theirs. They're not from here. They're from Gaia. They're from somewhere over there. They're not from this planet. They're slavers. They're moon worshippers. They're not human. So, you see? So that's the thing. And we're 8 plus billion. We're so many. So this is our planet. This is our planet. And it's just as simple as it is. This is our planet. This is our planet. And they know it. They know it. Because they have become human after all this time, right? Then they understand it. So they just have to understand facts for what they are. So that's it. That's our history. You see, this is truly who we are. So it's Antarctica is right there, and then you see, everything is beautiful because then everything everywhere can get as much light as they like. And there's no clouds, there's no ice caps, so the sun is everywhere. So everyone can freely be a sundial and a compass everywhere. And we all have access to spherical technology anyway. It's part of who we are as the Republic of Planet Earth. So we can go outside Earth's orbit anywhere we want in the universe and everything that exists in the cosmos. In anyone, freely. You are human, you go anywhere you want. As simple as that. And then also getting rid of the moon and reactivating our force field in Giza and moving Antarctica to where it's supposed to be again, and rebuilding it and doing everything the way it's supposed to be, and then starting to manufacture new planets, which is what the Republic of Planet Earth does already. But because of the moon here and the density, we cannot see what it is, but that's just the way it is. So, you see, because this is who we are. This is precisely who we are. We're the human species. We are the human species, okay? So we are the human species. So you see the whole thing. So let's talk about it then. So what the planet looks like, right? Because it's amazing. So that's the epicenter. But then everything is an equator. You see the Americas is a full equator. Everything, Asia is a full equator. It's all green and luscious and beautiful. All of it. Europe as well is nice. It's very tropical weather. It's very nice. Africa is kind of like the greenest because, and the most luscious because it's at the top. So because the sunlight kind of tops it. So it's always like Sunday. It's always day. There's no nights there. So it's the day there. That's why the force field was there, because it's always the day, and you need the sun from the energy from the sun to power it. So, right. So that's why, because it's all day long. It's always day. There's a day. It's no night. It's always day there. Because it's the energy gets caps off right the top. So the sun hits it, and it's always day. Always. There's no nights. So you can go there and have a very nice time with the sun all day if you want to have a day forever. So that's what Africa is. It's incredible. And then the bottom is just water because it's the Pacific. So there's nothing there. Right? And everything else is like an equator. Everything else is an equator. Really. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Really beautiful. Australia is incredible. You know how Australia has all these deserts? Well, they all go away. It's all green and luscious. Beautiful rivers, lakes, and the surface of all these deserts and all these things. It's beautiful. So it's like a garden. Australia is a garden. It's an incredible garden. I mean, Australia is an incredible country. It's beautiful. It's an amazing country. But it's just going to be more amazing because it's going to be at the equator. So if you understand that, so Antarctica is right here. So what's the equator of it? Well, Australia right there. You see? It's beautiful. So it's all green and luscious, everything, including obviously Antarctica, green and luscious. And Asia, all this is just green and luscious everywhere. Everywhere. You see? It's all green and luscious. It's beautiful. Everywhere you go. So you see, it's only 3 waterways, really. It's only 3 waterways. And that's why that when we manufacture everything, so you see, if you think about it, so because it's like this, that's the civilization. So you can go everywhere in the water or spaceships or whatever moving around, and then everything is around the equator and everything is green, and then Africa is all light day, daylight all day. There's no nights. So and then days tend to be longer and stuff because we can move it anywhere we want. So it doesn't. But the constant is that Africa is always day. That's the constant. And then, yeah, so everything is green and luscious and beautiful. So that's the way it is. You see, that's the actual way it is. And you see, and the way we build it like that is because, like Plato, right? He talks about Atlantis being this island with concentric circles, right? Well, look at this. This island and concentric circles. Which circles? Well, all the different, see, look at the circles around them. So a circle surrounding it. See, these are all mass lands. These continents are all forming a circle. Because why? Because the Pacific is a circle there at the bottom. So that means it's half of the sphere. So the other sphere is also a circle, which is surrounding what? Antarctica. Which is not the real name. Atlantis is not the real name either. It's just catchphrases. So, code words. So you see, that's just the way it is. This is just the way it is. So that's us, right there. And everything is just green and beautiful everywhere else. Green and beautiful everywhere else. Beautiful. And the bottom, you can go to the Pacific if you want, and it will be beautiful. But it's just waterways. And a few islands here and there. But it's mostly water. But you can still do a lot of... So what we would do, because that's a lot of water, it's a lot of things that can be done, like water-based science and all sorts of civilization that can be done, like actual artificial islands, floating islands, and things like that. There and things. But we got a lot of land, so we can do whatever we want because the whole idea is not to get contained within Earth, which is what's happening right now because of the moon. So it's actually to manufacture new ones of these. They don't have the landscapes, the terrains, the continents, the surface, the biospheres, the atmospheres of the planets won't look the same as Earth because we could design it anyway. Like we designed this one, we can design any way we want, and we orbit the central suns of all the universes, which is a structure density of who we are as a species. And this all will be like much more modern and advanced than this one because the new ones. So and all the lessons that we've learned. So there will be no more moons. So, but there will be an infinite number of planets, and because we're an infinite number of beings as a species. That's the future. That's the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. So you see, it's beautiful. But this is our home planet. This is where we come from. After everything that's happened, it's not our origin planet. We come from a different place, a real rocky planet, not a spaceship planet. But since everything that's happened and we've been here for so long, this is like our new home base. So from here we build everything that exists. That's why by we us, by us them, because we are everything that exists with the epicenter, because our planet is orbiting the central sun of everything that exists, because we are the central species. So you see, lovely. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, so this is who we are as a species. This is exactly who we are as a species. So the deeper we go, the closer we get. By we us, by us them. Endless cycle, fruitful process. Infinity is the organizing agent of reality. The deeper we go, the lighter we get. Density dissipates at a higher rate. Diminishing matter as a byproduct of end states. Eternity is the proof. We are here and now, forever, infinitely. The source is us. Know thyself. These Greek were intelligent, right? So know thyself, right? It's all within us. So you see, so that's why now you understand this eastward notion because of the moon and the moon centrism, right? And all these ideas that developed as a result of not reshaping, but realigning the orbit of planet Earth around the sun in relation to the moon as a parasite. So you see, so it's all as a result of that. So this is just the way it is. This is the species. Remember, I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger of the human species, of humanity, because we are infinity ourselves. I'm a messenger of infinity because we are the creators. So, and this must stop, and this gotta be known. It's time already. So it's just the way it is. And the moon is gonna be removed. This is happening. The moon's not gonna be there much longer, because our spaceships are already here, spherical technologies. But it's just a matter of time, because there's natural cycles to things. Because evolution is just the way it is. And also because of the density in which we operate our consciousness of awareness, given the limitations right now due to the moon being there and creating that, all sorts of problems that you can refer to in all the videos that I made. So you see, it's all that. It's understanding these. But you see, that's who we are as a species. This is the species that we are. You see, we're an incredible species. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I'm so right. I'm a messenger of humanity. I'm a messenger of infinity. This is who I am. I'm a human. I'm a pulse of life, the pulse of creation, and the human heart, just like we all are. Infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation. Love is the highest energy of creation. Okay, that's just the way it is. So that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. We are the human heart, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. Remember, the highest energy outside is the energy from the sunlight. And the highest energy within is the energy from love, the heart. So they come together as one and unlock our DNA and our memories and everything. Who we are as a species, the most ancient species, the central species, the first species, the most developed species, the most benevolent species, the most incredible species that there is, the center species. Because we are in the center of the universe. This is where we are. This is our planet. The first sun, the central sun, the son of sun, sun. I'm making us all sons. Sons of suns. This is who we are. Because we are the image of the creator, electromagnetic field. We are light spherical beings. And we are the biology of it, the DNA. So this is the species that we are. So this is the species that we are. We are the human race. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I love you all.